Hi, welcome to Planet Watch. We're here to talk to Mary Jane Staudenmann, our resident Radiate astrologer,
Hello,
Radiate wellness
everyone. Good to
astrologer,
see you all.
about Virgo. And hi, Mary Jane, welcome.
Hello, hello. Good to see you
It's
again.
good to see you. I'm here from the Great White North. I'm up in northern Idaho visiting family. So
Ah,
a little bit different scenery here.
yeah. It looks lovely. In fact,
It's really nice. It's really, really nice.
having a good summer there.
Yes, we're having a great time. It's hot, which in
Mm.
Sandpoint terms is upper 80s. And
Oh,
right,
okay.
and dry. In Kansas City terms, where you are from Kansas City, I live in Kansas
Is
City, and
94 and soggy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're dripping wet when you get out of the shower, and you never dry off. So
Precisely, yeah.
this kind of hot I can deal with. And I've got tons of birds around. There's supposed to be a moose coming by to look over the fence every once in a while. I haven't seen the moose yet. We have these big, they call them paddles,
How
big
amazing.
paddles, right?
Excellent.
But got tons of birds out here on the covered deck. So it's really quite lovely.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Uh,
Good on you.
and I'm eager to talk about Virgo. Of course, you're a Virgo,
I
and
am. I am.
all right in there in the middle of Virgo. And
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this month, I guess.
oh, there's some stuff coming up. There's some
Well, it
stuff coming
is.
up.
It starts weird and gets weirder
Yeah.
actually for a little while. So we're going to have a busy month.
Let's
That's for
begin.
sure. Yeah. The good news, I think, is that Mercury is here in strong conjunction with the sun as these planets move into Virgo. And Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo. And so
Hmm.
Mercury in Virgo is going to give a sense of pragmatism, a sense of order. It's very good for logical communications. Uh, that's actually a pretty good standpoint and starting point for the movements of this sun. And it's going to get better, in fact, with time. I wanted to count a little bit about Mercury, particularly right now, because Mercury is important in these different arguments around. Well, in the States, you've seen a lot of arguments around the standing of the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a very Mercurian.
Right. All about communication.
It's all about communication, extension, trade-offs, things getting done through the mail. I mean,
Oh, literally.
this is what Mercury does, huh? Right?
Right.
Now, the good news there, as close as I can tell, is that the USPS as it stands now may come under some changes, but it's certainly not going to disappear. These are just
It can't.
ridiculous.
It's
No, no.
literally in our Constitution.
Well, there you go. And I think it's an important thing now. There will be some changes in the attitudes of and how the thing works that are probably necessary as well. But certainly, you're not in any danger of seeing, well, the threat to the U.S. election, for instance, that was going on. You should be able to get this vote by mail organized between now and then. Encourage everyone and on every state level, in every state, to set up this vote by mail possibility. It works, folks. I'm living in Switzerland. They've been doing this for the last 30 years, and it just works. It works surprisingly well. So, anyway, that's a word about that. This is getting, as I said, it's getting more and more healthy um, through the next couple of weeks. Things will be shaping up, and to my thinking, it's a sure bet. It's just not going to come under any dangerous fire
Good.
in any in any short term. In any case, we're going to
Good.
see some changes, but that's okay. Um, as you said, it's written into the Constitution, among other things. So, and the law is on the side of its defenders, of the people who are wanting to do some useful changes. So that's one movement that I consider very important through here. Then there's another movement as far as uh, again protecting things that are existing in the sky, protecting certain people's rights. We're going to see a huge move through the month and more or less positive move with time for this salary changes and salary pay rises and working conditions for especially health practitioners.
Oh, that is
And
a welcome thing right now.
well, certainly, I think so too. It's going to, again, there, it's an important move that's absolutely necessary, that is understood by everyone except for the authorities that are fighting against it. This is going to involve health services on all levels, the Medicare, the Obamacare, all of the things going on stateside as well as worldwide. It's just a time when all of the health care professionals are going to be needing to defend their interests, first of all, and seem to be, with time, in a new appreciation. They'll be seeing a little more help along the way. If I talk about having to defend one's interests, it's because underneath these two underlying, I think these are the most important issues at present in any case. There's a huge scrap going on. Just the sky is so crowded with attitudes of real hatred. Arguments get louder and louder. Good common sense goes right out the window. It's good to see Mercury helping in that department too. And I think will help level out a lot of yelling and screaming that's going on right now, in any case.
And you did
It's
mention
also
that
going to take
Mercury is
time,
going.
and there are periodic times when these arguments are going to be just really noisy.
Right. And you did mention that Mercury is going to go retrograde again.
No, no, not Mercury, Mars.
Oh, Mars is going retrograde. Okay.
Yeah, Mars is going retrograde. Let's see, on the 10th of September, and will continue its retrogradation until the 15th of November. So it's going to have a nice long visit going backward. In and of itself, it's not terribly comfortable. This Mars retrograde brings about for certain individuals and on certain levels, certain errors in judgment. People are tied up in old arguments, in old thinking, in old actions, their gestures, and their need to get even with people. There's a lot of grudge fighting going on with the Mars in retrograde. We go back in time, back looking into old attitudes that aren't particularly healthy.
Right.
This can be good for cold cases, however. Certain actions or certain activities that have been in suspension for all this time are going to be looked at again. And this can be a good tendency, especially after the 15th of November. We'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about how this Mars in retrograde drudges up like old stuff, like accusing people of stuff they did long ago, especially
Sure.
concerns the election.
Sure. And I think it's an important time for grudge fighting and also appeals cases. People who have been not pleased with the certain court cases or court decisions are going to throw everything back on the table. It's that kind of an attitude. Can be good, it can be very bad, but in any case, active. Especially as Mars is in Aries all this time, who's just kind of looking for a fight in any case. And if he hasn't got anything fresh in front of him, well, he'll go back and, play Hatfield and McCoy with whoever's around and needs their butt kicked. So that's kind of one attitude. The other part of the other movement, the uncomfortable part of this Mars retrograde, is that in its movement, it's going to go back and recreate this conflictual square attitude with aspect with Mercury, with not with Mercury, with Saturn, with Jupiter and Pluto that he did the first time. Now he's going back. And we'll be redoing all these movements through the end of September and so on. And this is just going to cause essentially a repetition of the peaks in the flu new flu cases. The COVID cases are going to go up. We're not done with that phenomenon yet by a long shot. And it's going to be a serious threat and a serious appeal to people's good sense through October and November. So just, get used to taking care of yourselves and people around you, because it's going to be absolutely necessary to avoid new new cases, especially new peaks. We're going to see a lot of new cases under this Mars activity. The problem there too is that Mars is not only acting viral here, but he's also acting bacterial. So we're going to see secondary pneumonia and other bronchial complications accompanying the flu. So it's a nasty period. Just everybody, please keep cool and take care of yourselves. That's all.
Wash your hands and wear your masks and stay home whenever possible.
That's it. That's it. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. That's what we've got going on with this Mars who's acting up these days. As we're getting involved now, there are some periods with the beginning of here at 0 degrees in Virgo. We get into the month with the moon already making squares. The moon is going to be in Libra at the beginning of the month, and will periodically set off these attitudes of argument, of confrontation. We're not done on that. I'm saying stay out there, stay visible. These confrontations have got to go on, and they're going to be important. Let me tell you about this for the Postal Service, also for we'll have hot times for separation and custody rights, for instance, dissolution of different contracts, different even on a government level. And we've got to continue the fight, but there are certain peak times that are going to be important. The 22nd and the 23rd, as we get involved with Virgo, seems to be a pretty hot weekend. The other one is the 28th to the 30th of August. And on the 5th to the 7th, I'm saying, of September. These are going to be particularly noisy weekends. There seems to be a lot to be discussed. There's a lot of movement on the streets. There's a lot of fighting going on in general. But again, it's a mass movement. These are people who are showing up for their rights. And as close as I can tell, it's a very good tendency. It's going to be noisy, but it's going to be useful.
So you're talking about protests and demonstrations and that type of thing.
Yep.
About people wanting to exert their rights and fight for their rights. That's,
exactly.
It's a necessary thing. If we sit back on our heels, these things aren't going to be given to us. We need to be careful about it.
That's it. Well, there are some very strong suggestions of positive action, as I've said, with in preserving the postal system, fighting for the rights of health people and so on. But it's necessary to keep up the arguments, to keep up a presence, in order that, just because we're always coming up against the powers that be here, that they're sitting very smugly in Capricorn and just waiting for the action. So it's necessary under this sky to stay very visible in any case. The same is true, I'll say, on a personal level. I see here a lot of legal separations, a lot of custody rights, things of that nature that are going to go on, and it's absolutely necessary to fight for your rights if you're involved in such a situation. Especially dealing with, I'm thinking of situations of domestic violence and other protection of women's rights and health. That seems particularly important right now.
Right.
I want to talk about a minute about this Venus, because she's kind of intriguing this month. As I said, we start the month and she's still kind of going, yeah, like she's been doing for the last 2 months, 3 months. On the 6th of September, now this Venus is going to slip into Leo. Direct. She's doing great work. Her attitudes will change, though. She's no longer the mother lion protecting her kids and her foyer and her and taking care of the home front. Now she's out there for herself, and which makes me think about women's rights and about how certain things are going to be turning around a bit with the idea of some new attitudes. This same Venus, as she slips into Leo and through mid-September, is going to make a square to Uranus, another conflictual aspect from Venus to Uranus. Now, this is an attitude that says, we can't go on like this. Just watch me in action. I've been nagging all this time, but nobody's been paying any attention to me. Well, now I'm going to change some things around me. And she can finally get angry. She can finally get very pointed. One of the nice things is that there's a new pragmatism in her arguments, a new sense of taking her place and presenting real arguments that are sound and that are listenable. This is already going to be wonderful.
So it sounds like it furthers women's rights and women's movements.
Exactly. I'm thinking with this change too, there's going to be a new, a new justification of halfway houses and these places where women can go, battered wives can go for safety. There's a sense of growth through there and a sense of new presence. I don't know if this will be legalized somehow or get more support from on a state level or a judicial level, but somehow there's a new sense of propriety of how these things are supposed to exist, and should be funded, which could be important for everyone.
I mean, visibility is already an improvement and
Sure.
a new importance to them.
Yep.
Funding.
Right. Now, the moon is going to be important in these new movements, these new attitudes, around the 14th of September. I don't know exactly what, if that's a weekend or what, but it's going to be important, and through the 16th to the 19th, because the sun is making also a very uncomfortable aspect with this Uranus, which says that the sun, which represents male domination, a lot of again authoritarian thinking, is suddenly being shaken at its roots by all this noise that's going on in the background. And so finally, some people who have been in authority, in positions of authority, are going to be threatened, are going to be challenged, and all in the name of a better good, a bigger good. So these things need doing, and I think they're going to get off the ground in any case this month. So those are some of the important movements. Yeah, we'll see with time. I think I've talked about the movements of the moon and these key weekend. They seem to show up on the weekends, especially where certain of these arguments are going to be presented. And it should be interesting times in the electoral campaign as well in the states.
Right. I mean, that's one of my big concerns. Things are already pretty tense around here. Things are moving in a direction where, we're not having a good response to COVID. People are not staying safe, that type of thing. So,
yeah,
the American election is forefront, at least in my mind, and that of many others.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. It seems important, and as I look around in the world news, this is happening on all kinds of fronts. When you look at the election already in Belarus, I don't know if this interests anybody, but it's been a mess. It's just been awful, and people are right down in the street saying, "We didn't elect this guy," and so it's happening. It's happening in a lot of places.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, so that's gives us a little hope as in terms of people's continuing to speak up for their rights, continuing to say, hey, this is not right, and we're not okay with this. some things going on in communication, et cetera, et cetera. That is
Right.
a good thing. So is there anything that we need to know in particular for Virgos, people born under the sign of Virgo?
Um, off Offhand, I'd say we're probably in a, I'm speaking for all of us Virgos, we're probably in a very good condition to especially take advantage of new surroundings. Seems to be a lot of movement in the lives of Virgos, physical movement sometimes, but also intellectual movement. It's a time of curiosity. It's time to be getting back to school and picking up that extra degree and doing things, doing your own reading. There's a lot of curiosity from this lovely Uranus up here that seems to say, hey, there's more out there than meets the eye, and it's time to kind of start digging around. That seems to be critical. The other idea is on the work front. A lot of Virgo, and also in their love lives, a lot of Virgos are going to be scratching their heads and wondering why they're still in these relationships that don't make any sense. This kind of goes with the idea too of a new approach, newness that's kind of tempting to the Virgo right now. So those are some, and for any artists out there that are Virgoan that typically get involved in pottery, also in abstract painting, sculpture as well. It seems to be a Virgo, and music. It's a very hot time creatively. So use it. Don't be afraid, especially people working in sculpture and pottery, handling the earth, or jewelry seems important. Handling metals and heavy materials are absolutely turning on as far as creativity. So go for it.
Well, that sounds
I,
amazing.
I'm busy studying the asteroids, so I hope to have a little more to tell you about that as time goes on. So,
Oh, that was fun. Oh, yeah.
yeah, well, they're fun. I guess they are.
We don't talk nearly enough about asteroids and that type of thing in astrology, I feel. So that's a good thing to be learning. And
Absolutely. And they're full of information, I'll tell you. It's sort of secondary information. It's for the moment, in any case. As I said, I'm just getting started, but they seem to fluff out our information that's coming from the master planets, the classic planets, and they add a lot of yeah, interesting detail to things that we can learn already from each chart. Yeah,
sure.
it's been fun.
Well, I do want to, well, I mean, while I've got you here, I want to put in a plug for your astrology, I'm sorry, your tarot series that you've been doing for the
Oh,
Radiate You group.
exactly. It's been fun. It's going rather slowly, but I've got six lessons out there for that are ready,
Yeah,
and I'm cranking them out as close as we can. There should be 24, 25 in all.
all told.
So for the moment, I'm concentrating on the major arcana, and they're pretty fascinating. I've got to say, these are wonderful characters.
Yeah. And this,
Very useful for meditation, as sources of meditation, sources of not only information on the divinatory side, but just in digging into our own evolution, of psychological and spiritual evolution. The tarot is just fantastic. Anyway, I'm having fun doing it. So come on in and have a look. That's great.
right. And so I will be putting some information on how to join that Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. It is a subscription based. So we have extra content that you can't find on YouTube, you can't find on our website. It's just extra special content. It's kind of like a premium version of our podcast, the Radiate Wellness Podcast. And
Right.
we have classes, we have meditations, we have all kinds of things out there. So I'll put the link in the description, the show description of this episode. And yeah, we can find these great lessons on the tarot. You've been doing tarot for a really long time.
A really long time, always in parallel to my astrology.
Right.
Yeah, I studied the tarot with my astrology teacher, in fact. But it's curious how things shape up. I've always had sort of parallel clientele.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want to get close to the tarot. Some other people are fascinated but don't care much about astrology. It all depends on what people need, what they're looking for. So
Absolutely.
it's always been a fantastic experience. I have a huge respect for the lessons from the tarot, and we'll be more than happy with time to share all this with all of you listeners out there.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And this is why I don't really do much tarot. I do it for myself, but because there's so much to learn.
Always, always.
Was to learn. Okay, well, Mary Jane, it's been so fascinating talking with you. I always enjoy these when we do them. And
Me too. It's wonderful to plug in with you again, and we'll have a next time a good look at Libra.
yeah, Libra. All right, we'll see you again in Libra.